iRacing is very expensive, but it doesn't need to be. Did you know there's a smart way to go about collecting content in iRacing if you step back and introduce a little bit of strategy? Over the past few weeks, I've been really thinking hard about what I wanted to say is my process or how I formed this mental strategy, and I believe I've landed on it well. So here's how. In iRacing, every car and track that doesn't come standard with the stock subscription has to be purchased to use. And for most of us, they do come with a price tag that is quite different to any other video game or simulator model that we've seen before. Before we get into buying content and the best way to go about it, and make sure you stick around because I'm going to be showing you an amazing tool that can help you how to strategically plan which content you want to buy so you get the best bang for your buck. So hang on for that. I'd just like to ask you to take a quick second to see if you can leave a like on this video and even a comment so that other racers like yourself can find this video, and it's a free and easy way to support the channel. Before content, you'll need your subscription, so make sure to avail of iRacing's new member discounts as they can be quite large, but make sure that you know what you want to do, or if you're just giving it a try, or if you're in for the long haul. Either way, a lot of new members, what they do is they wait for Black Friday and then you can renew your subscription then. Even if you're halfway through your subscription, you can renew on Black Friday and then it adds on the days plus what you already are owed, let's say. So when buying content, you need to think of it in the sense of what utility do I get from this? In other words, what does this do for me? How does this help me? How does this improve my life? And like any purchase, you got to think like that. In general, I think it's a good mental exercise to have a think about these. For example, here's mine. Usually if I buy content, I get more than 5 to 10 hours of use out of it. I consider that it has been bought and paid for, in the sense that it's done everything I've expected. Everything else is a bonus. The service also brings me joy and is my form of relaxation and meditation, a time where I can disconnect and just hit the track, which for me is invaluable. And my main justification, let's say, which also sounds silly, but it is true, is that I love racing. Mainly racing cars. I don't see myself being able to afford to do this anytime in the future. And even if I had hundreds of thousands of euros to race GT3 cars as a paid driver, I'd have better stuff to spend that on. Probably equally as silly, but still. So the thing is, satisfying the itch of racing is a huge selling point of iRacing, mainly for me, and I'm sure many others. The cars aren't real, but the racing sure is. Do I think it's expensive? Yes. Do I think the per car per track model is expensive, especially seeing as you lose access to your purchases if you don't resubscribe to the service? Yes. Do I think the track's quality with laser scanning and everything they put into it and the car's detail and mechanics are unmatched in any sim? Absolutely. For me, the product is accurately priced for what it is. Although it may seem expensive on a surface level, it's worth it. So for me, buying content and investing in iRacing has been frictionless, but having a good understanding of your why can be beneficial into judging how into this you want to get. Usually getting on iRacing and enjoying the base content for a few months is enough to know if something is, oh, I like doing it the odd time, or this is now my thing, which is very beneficial into knowing the level in which you're prepared to invest into this. So do have a look and see where you're currently at on your sim racing journey, if it's just a one time a month thing, or if this is one race a day or a couple races a week sort of thing, do look into that. When you find yourself ready to pull the trigger on purchases, one thing we need to look at are bulk discounts. There's something you must consider when purchasing content on iRacing. You have a bulk discount available. Personally for me, when I start off, I bought all my content in sets of 3s. As when buying 6, I found I was buying stuff I didn't need, and that's a big thing you want to avoid. My usual go-to was I'd buy, let's say, a car, a track I wanted, and a track I needed. And that usually worked out. Obviously, as the time goes on, you'll start maybe experimenting, just trying things out. But if you're really trying to save money, do really research what you need to buy, and we're going to talk about that a little bit later. Personally, I rarely buy content as I have about 90% of the road tracks, so it should go without saying that there does come a point where you don't really need to buy anything anymore and only new content is released. I will take this point of the guide to mention to be very careful when buying new content, and I mean newly released stuff, as it can be tempting, but if you want to be cautious, the best thing to do is let the content ride out a season, because participation on some series die. Even though the hype was almost real, just look at the Porsche Mission or the A-Class F1 races. They're completely dead. The first thing that should be done before buying content is research, particularly broken down into 4 areas of research that I find served me very well. when looking to progress and move into different areas of the iRacing service. Firstly, knowing how you want to progress in iRacing and don't move too quickly. What I mean by this, when you first come into the service and let's say you're racing the Mazdas, but your curiosity of, how fun and fast are the B class and the A class series races must be. It's natural, but this is a journey. And if it takes you 3 months or 3 years to reach the top, so be it. Enjoy the journey. But what most racers will tell you who race A class series, that most of the fun racing is in the D class or C class series, and definitely shouldn't be brushed over. So have a look and research what your roadmap is and take it one step at a time. Move from rookies to D class, then pause, breathe, examine what you want to race, then best off not looking at C class based content until you're there. So really, wherever you get, sit there for a while, race there, get quicker, and just get quicker. Bit by bit, and enjoy the journey. So have a little think about where you want to progress, what your target is. If you have been watching, let's say, multi-class racing on TV for years, and you're like, nope, I want to get into prototype cars, that's it. Set yourself a roadmap, but just work it up slowly. Secondly, investigate the participation of your series. In most cases, this is obvious if you want to race GR86s, F4, Superlights, the F3 or the GT3, you'll see that these series are always packed. But for some more niche series, even if they look dead, can be some very cool sub-communities on them on Discords and websites who organize to race at certain times. So for people who have a true passion for a particular type of car, look into them if you're interested in a less popular series. There are websites you can check the participation for these series in iRacing, but basically the easiest way to do it is, if you click on the series you want to race on iRacing on the UI, click on it, at the top there will be a tab that says series results. Here you can see the amount of people who took part in that race. Basically, if they're every hour, you'll see what time they were, what date they were, how many people were there, how many splits there were, like how many different rooms there were based on skill. So just be aware that the time of day has a big role to play in these figures. So keep that in mind with series results. They can be a quick way to judge what's hot and what's not. And in the middle of the night and during the day, there may be different amounts of people on. So if you're grinding for iRating, there may be some more favorable servers or sessions going on in the middle of the night as opposed to during the day. Now, thirdly, and almost most importantly, but there's one more that's more important, is the cars. So not so much the tracks. Knowing what cars you'd like to drive is a must, as this is where you'll get the most value, as these products are the ones that won't be changing out throughout the calendar and also throughout the year. Testing out these cars can be done through test driving the content you don't own while iRacing is performing scheduled maintenance. As long as you have it downloaded, you can try them out. For example, all GT3 cars are GT3 cars, but boy did they drive differently. The Merc is like a boat, but a fun boat at that. The BMW feels on rails, personally for me, and the Porsche seems to be quick if you can look after the tyres. But in general, unless you are really fast, you're best off picking a car that you feel comfortable to drive and like the sound of. Just keep it simple at the start, something you like. Another point of research for this is YouTube. Watch your favourite content creators driving these cars and see what they have to say about them. Anything you can do to make a more informed decision is a great idea. On the last note for the cars, it's worth highlighting the cars pop up in different series. So for example, if you're looking for a GT3 car that can be used in many different series, look no further than the Ferrari 296 GT3. This can be used in the D-Class Ferrari Fixed, the C-Class GT3 Endurance races, the B-Class GT3 Fixed and Open Setup races, and even the A-Class IMSA multi-class races. Many cars in iRacing cover different series, so make sure to look ahead and see for yourself. And lastly, useful tips to be aware of with the tracks. This is where most of your energy will be focused on when buying content and planning your content purchases. And although you buy content, you'll have it forever and it will keep coming back up. It's tough to see this value when you're first buying content that in the short term will only last 1 week. Again, touching off why the mental exercise of knowing your why is important, as these are long-term purchases. So let's say you've enjoyed the Mazda and you want to try something similar but different. So you want to buy the Toyota GR86, a bit quicker, a bit more of a challenge, something new. And now you're looking at tracks. Firstly, what we want to see is there any overlaps? And by overlaps, I mean, is the track I want to buy also in any other series with the GR86 or any other cars I want to race this week? or with the car series I intend on racing during the rest of the season. To do this, we take our example car, in this case the Toyota GR86. We have a D-Class fixed race, and we also have a production car challenge, which is a 25-minute multi-class race, which is an incredible series, by the way, and I encourage all new racers to give it a try. But this means that our car is eligible for 2 series up to D-Class. So on the iRacing UI, we can check the series schedule up at the top, and we can check if the track we want to buy is also racing in both series. If there is an overlap, like let's say the track is racing in week 2 of one series, and then you click on the other series, the production car challenge, you scroll down on the schedule and you see it's racing in 6 weeks time, you know, okay, well if I buy this track then it's going to come back up. So immediately this will increase the short-term value that the track provides you. Hence maybe helping you consider if the track is worth it, and if it's helping you get the most out of your purchase, at least in the short term. There is a very useful website you can use if you are just starting out on iRacing and you don't have many pieces of content. It's called the iRacing Buyer's Guide. It's been around for quite a while. You go on this website, you tell it what you have, and you leave blank what you don't have. And there are so many different tools on the website which can kind of help guide you to show you what's on and what's not, and help to inform you make a purchase. But in general, you just keep it simple. You know, you have a look and see, okay, I need this track. And then have a look around and see, well, I want to race F4 and I also want to race this and this. Let me check and see if this track is coming up on all these too. And if it does, then you should consider it as a purchase, because you're going to get a lot of short-term value out of it, and inevitably long-term value, as next season it's going to come back up again. The one after that, it should come up again, and little by little, next thing you know, you don't have to buy many tracks anymore, as you always have something to race. Even if, let's say, you race F4 and you don't have that track, you can maybe hop into GT3 or back to the production car challenge if you do have those tracks. So there's always something to race as you start to build your content. But at the end of the day, do know, you don't need to purchase anything on iRacing to have fun. And if you want to know why, check out this video on your screen now that I made talking about why you don't need to purchase anything in iRacing to enjoy it. Trust me, this video will explain why. And if you've made it this far, thanks very much for watching. Make sure to leave a like and a comment so other racers can find this video, and happy hunting.